Hi, it's Maya here, and July 14th was the 6th-year anniversary of this channel, so I thought that in order to celebrate, I would do the mid-year book freakout tag. So this is a tag that goes around every year. You have probably seen a lot of people do this, and I will link the creators in the description. So it's the end of July right now, but I will be answering the questions with the books that I had read at the end of June. So the first question is the best book you read so far in 2020. And for me that is Redemption in Indigo by Karen Lord. I really like this fantasy story based on Senegalese folklore, and I like the main character Palma, and I really like the other important character, I was gonna say antagonist, but the Indigo Lord, and their adventures together. I had such a fun time reading that book. I really liked the relationship between those two, and I liked the spirits around in that. And I think it had great characters, and I really liked the narrating style. The next question is the best sequel you read so far in 2020, and I chose The Tropic of Serpents by Mary Brennan, which is the second book in the Memoir by Lady Trent series. And I have to say that I haven't read a lot of sequels this year, but I really like this one. I did enjoy it, I think, more than the first book. And this one tells us about Lady Trent, who is a dragon naturalist, and it has this sort of fancy of manner sort of feel, because the country that Lady Trent comes from is sort of based on Victorian era United Kingdom. She does travel all around. In this one, she travels to study the legendary swamp worm in the continent of Eriga, which is sort of modeled after the continent of Africa. I can't say which country the country that she travels to is modeled after, but I think it had to be somewhere along the equator, based on how the weather was described. But I really enjoy having a scientist main character who is really into studying the local customs, and most importantly the dragon biology and how dragons live and everything like that. The next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I have a couple of these, but I will choose Network Effect by Martha Wells, which is a Murderbot novel. I have read the 4 previous novellas, and I really enjoy the character of Murderbot and the sort of snarky writing style, and I think my favorite secondary character from this series, from Artificial Condition, the second novella, is in the novel, so that makes me even more excited. I am waiting for it from the library. I don't know if I will buy it before it arrives. Let's see how long the library takes. Then question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that's Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I will always answer Piranesi, but let's make this a bit more interesting and also say Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment, and that would be The Woman Who Rides Like a Man by Tamara Pierce, which is the 3rd book in the Song of the Lioness Quartet. I really like the 2 previous books in this young adult fantasy series, but I didn't speed through the 3rd one like I did the first 2, and I didn't really care for the setting, so that one wasn't my favorite, and I was looking for this like quick young adult fun adventure, and I just wasn't really into it. The biggest surprise that I have read this year is Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerards, which is a comic trade collecting the Mr. Miracle run, and it's a DC superhero that I had no idea about. I knew nothing about. I knew that he had miraculous escapes, that was sort of his power, but I was quite surprised with how much I enjoyed this, and there was stuff added to the beginning that sort of explained the backstory, so I had an easier time with it. I do really enjoy Tom King. I liked his Vision miniseries for Marvel, and I really like this one. Question number 7 is your favorite new author, and no, this is not your new favorite author, but your favorite new author. So out of the new authors that I've read so far this year, which one was my favorite? And that one was Tamsin Muir with Gideon the Ninth. I had such a fun time reading this. It's about this very goth, quite silly swordswoman Gideon, who has to go with this necromancer to be her bodyguard in this sort of space contest in this crumbling mansion, and it was like very gothic and like science fantasy, and that's my sort of thing. The next question is your newest fictional crush, and I don't think I really have one. I might say the Indigo Lord from Redemption in Indigo, but the next question is your newest favorite character, and for that I can definitely say the Indigo Lord from Redemption in Indigo. I really have a thing for these immortal characters who like have to learn stuff from humans even though they think they are above them. It's a bit like self-satisfied immortals. I love that stuff. And I also really liked Harrowhark, Nonagesimus from Gideon the Ninth. And I'm really looking forward to Harrow's own book. And randomly, I also liked the two guys, I think they were called Lamol and Kokona, from The Queen Margot by Alexandre Dumas that I read this year. They were sort of like the hero. Dumas' heroes are always a bit quite flawed, but you know, these sort of almost musketeer-like characters in that story that was otherwise very like historical figures doing important stuff. Then there were these two. They were just fun to read about. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry, and I surprisingly haven't had a book make me cry in the first half of the year. The next question is a book that made you happy, and for this I could say Peter Darling by Austin Chant, which was this romance with Peter Pan and Captain Hook. I think I read 2 fairy tale retellings that month when I read Peter Darling, and I really enjoyed both of them, and I liked how this took on the Peter Pan tale. Also, if you're going with a book that made me laugh, that would be Gideon the Ninth. The next question asks for the most beautiful book you bought or received so far this year, and for this I'm gonna go with The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I really do like these colors, and I do like if you can see the shiny tentacles on the cover. I haven't really bought that many physical books this year, so out of the ones that I have bought, I like this one the best. And the final question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And all of the ones that are on my 10 books to read in 2020 list that I haven't read yet, so that's 8 books. For example, I'm going to show you on that list I have The Fall of the Kings by Ellen Kushner and Delia Sherman, which is in the Riverside world. And then I have The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, which I feel like everyone else has read but me. This sort of fantasy of manners in a secondary world with no magic. And this one is historical fantasy set in Cairo. So that was my mid-year book freakout tag and my 6 years on BookTube celebratory video. This time I didn't have any party hats. I haven't been able to go buy some new party hats, and I have used all the ones that I had in previous videos. So this one is a more casual channelversary video. But here's to another year, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next one.